Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 video. Now, for the past week, the videos that we have been making have mainly been based around the features found within this section of the lab, particularly related to this Alliance Enhancement section. But we haven't looked at, discussed, or really done anything with this other portion, that being the ISO management. And that is something that you certainly should take a look at if it's not something that you've done already. And here's the reasoning why. Now, as you progress throughout the game, you're going to collect a lot of different ISO types. And if we kind of just give a general overview of the library here, you'll kind of understand what I mean. There's many a different type of ISO, and you can even go through and filter them out just to kind of give you an idea of what they are. There are 6 different types of ISO that correspond exactly to the types of buffs that are found within the mastery tree, and then the addition of rainbow and white type ISOs. And when you find them, you're probably going to find them in standard chunks like this. In different rarities, in different sizes, that do a couple of other things. Now, each of these ISO sections do a very specific task, with the exception of the Rainbow ISO-8, as that one is kind of, I don't want to say a catch-all group, but one that can really dabble into a bunch of different places. And today I wanted to take a moment to just look at one subsection of the ISO management. So let's go ahead and deselect everything and have a look at our orange ISO. And the reason that I want to focus on this one first is because it proved invaluable when it comes to clearing out one of the more difficult rifts in that Sigma difficulty. And let me explain what I mean by that. So this orange ISO section is what corresponds directly over to the mastery section. And we just looked at the mastery portion of the Alliance Enhancement on Monday. If you haven't had a chance to watch that video, go give it a look. I've got a whole playlist put together from all of those different types on the main channel page, so you should be able to find it. But what the Mastery section does is it allows you to, or the Orange ISO allows you to look into different buffs within the Mastery section, such as increases done to burning, increasing damage done to enemies affected by different status types. There's a laundry list of different things that you can gain here, so we're not going to look at absolutely everything. But one thing that is important, and you can kind of see where I'm going with this, one thing that is important to note is that you can get chunks of ISO within the orange rarity that increase ability damage. And this is what I mean by this ISO being invaluable to one of the harder rifts. And you can see here that I have this particular piece of ISO equipped to Starlord. But before I go into more reasoning as to why and showcase how important that is, I want to briefly touch on why this subsection is so important. Now let's say that you have this ISO, and you're really needing to get some harder, more dire critical hits in. Well, you can take this little piece of orange ISO, which, I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at. It's one of the lower tiers. I believe this one's a B tier ISO. And you can select it and upgrade it using combinations of the ISO dust, which you can see I've got almost 1.5 million dust of just the orange type alone, and that doesn't even look at the other types of dust that I have at my disposal. And we could, just pour in some resources into this in order to increase that up from a 7% chance to an 8.5% chance. Now, I don't need this one in particular, but for the sake of making an argument, let's go through with it. As you go into the higher upgrades, it's going to require a certain amount of dust, a certain amount of units, and it's also going to require some lower tier ISO of the same type. Now, I've got a lot of this stuff that will increase my mastery by 6.8%, so let's go ahead and select 3 of those and slap them onto this ISO in order to upgrade it. That is going to take our ISO from its standard state to an ISO +5, which is really kind of nice. You can then take that same piece of ISO and you can upgrade it using some more dust, some more units, or some more credits, and some more of your ISO here. So let's go ahead and grab, I don't know. Let's grab some of these mastery increased by 8.6%. So we select these two, and upon hitting our upgrade button, we are going to increase not only the overall efficiency of this ISO, but we will upgrade it into the next tier as well, which increases marginally the critical hit chance that can be supplied from this ISO. So let's hit the button. We've got nothing to lose. We got cash to spend. And you can further update this further and further. And just for the sake of demonstration, I'm not actually going to do this because I want to conserve some of my resources here, but you can take the critical hit chance up from the 8.8% to the 10.3%, and then there's actually one tier further from this level that this particular type of ISO can be upgraded. And that's kind of what I've been playing around with a little bit here to get one of the more difficult rifts cleared out. So let's jump back in. I backed out a little bit too far. You'll notice that I have this piece of ISO here, which increases ability damage by 20.2%. That's at the max tier that I can get this piece of ISO to, and I have it equipped to Starlord. But if we come down further, that one's equipped to Dr. Doom. If we come down even further, you'll notice there's this one here, which is also equipped to Starlord, which is another 20.2% damage increase for ability attacks. And I've got one other one that I'd equipped over to Starlord as well, and I believe it's this one. Yes, so this is a further increase to ability damage done by 13.6%, mainly because I didn't want to go through upgrading more and more of this, because you never know when you're going to need some of this stuff. So let's actually have a look at Starlord and the setup that I have for him currently. So if we have a look at Starlord here, we've done different character spotlights and other things here. Nothing super impressive to look at on the surface. I mean, I do have him up to level 68, and that's mainly because I needed him up at a higher level in order to have any hope and chance of clearing out that. We look at the ISO that I have equipped to him. We have, and these do stack on top of each other, two increases of 20.2% for a total of 40.4% ability damage increase, plus an additional 13.6, which brings us to 54% increase. So that's a pretty hefty increase to the damage that's being dealt by Starlord's abilities. And that's important because of the following. So if we look here inside the Lambda rifts, you'll notice that there is a mission that is a Starlord solo mission. And this one gave me a really hard time. In fact, the first time that I went around trying to get it cleared out, I could only get that first star of the trial being cleared. But this increase that Starlord receives to his ability attacks is greatly augmented by the fact that we have so much ISO increasing the attack power of his abilities. And that helps us get both of these clears, or both of these remaining two clear conditions, a lot easier. And it's nice to keep in mind as well that you can accomplish them separately. But let me show you something that I've found that will really, really help you get the 3-star clear on this one, as this is by far one of the most difficult rifts that I had taken on before making these adjustments specifically. Now, as you'll see here, Thanos is a little bit of a one-sided fight when it comes to, the damage that he can deal, and especially when you also take into consideration that he is fully charged here with the Infinity Gauntlet and all of its powers. As suggested to me in the video where I first attempted this trial by Miles Morales, and yes, that's the user that offered me this suggestion, it was beneficial to chain a couple of Star-Lord's abilities into each other, which really, really helps us out in terms of actually getting some meaningful damage in on this guy. And that has really worked wonders, because you'll see here there are very large amounts of damage that we are able to deal into him. And if you're looking for increasing the overall ability damage that you can deal, there's a couple of tells that he has that you'll want to keep in mind as he soups up his different attacks. And just like that, we had a much easier time this go around than I did with my first look at him. And if we have a look at our score, you'll notice that we met that criteria of 300,000 plus ability damage, as well as getting that clear in under the minute and 30 seconds. So this was highly effective in terms of making this boss fight a lot easier than it needed to be. And if you are having struggles with it, I highly recommend that you give your ISO-8 a look and remaster how it's structured in order to tip the scales in your favor for this type of an interaction. But that is going to do it for today's video and everything that I had planned for you. So let me know if you found this video helpful. I know that this was a very nice mechanic to take a closer look at and help out myself. But if you are struggling with things and have some questions or some concerns, if you want a deeper, detailed look at how the ISO works and how you can use it to your your effectiveness, by all means, let me know. Leave me a comment, and don't forget to leave a like on this video. And finally, don't forget to subscribe, as that subscription is free and easy, and my commitment is to bring to you a video every single day. So thanks again for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.